Hey guys, it's me, Kid Rorik, here doing a quick video because I'm kind of a bit rushed for time right now on the graphic novel adaptation of Stieg Larsson's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. The reason I'm doing this now is because I recently just purchased the graphic novel adaptation of The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, and the new book, The Girl in the Spider's Web, is coming out next month. I'm not really super excited for that. I was when I first heard about it, but as it kept going through, I was just like, maybe it's not going to be good. But if it is good, great. But if it's bad, I'm like, oh, I saw it coming, so I've got nothing to lose here. But on to The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. This was adapted by Denise Mina. I hope I'm saying that right. She is a Scottish crime writer who has worked on Hellblazer, John Constantine, his series. She did a couple issues of that, which I've been reading a bit of that, and I'm liking it so far. Back to this. The first part of this adaptation, actually, it was released in two separate volumes. The first in the fall of 2012, but later Vertigo condensed it into one volume, which I own that one. This is actually what got me into the books. I read this first before I read the books, but I already knew the basic story of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo before I read the book. But I do think the books are far superior to this adaptation, which isn't exactly a bad thing, as I'll get into later. As far as the covers go, that's what really got me into this because the cover looks absolutely amazing, and I think it portrays the character of Lisbeth quite well, unlike the rest of the book really did. The first thing I want to cover is the art. It ranges from realistic and like really good looking and fitting to the world to, okay, now who did this? At first, I thought the two separate art styles were like from each character. It's kind of seemed like one art style would go with Michael and the other would go with Lisbeth. And then at the end, when the two of them were together, it just every page was just different type of art style, and I was like, wait, what's happening? Who's on this one? And I didn't really like it as much. In the end, it just was hideously splashed together. I'm just like, I also noticed there were a lot of repeating panels. Like, it would just have the same thing, and I would have to go back and just be like, wait, wasn't that just on that? It looks similar. But next is the story. And I completely understand when adapting anything from one media to the other, there are going to be some things lost. But with this book, I really thought that there was a lot of major things lost in there, even some tiny things that I really thought made the story and message strong. Like when Lisbeth tattoos Berman and has that stuff on there. They in the graphic novel they shortened that a lot, and I was like, wait. But in the book, it was way longer, and that's made the message a lot stronger. It made it seem like, oh man, she really hated this person that much. And the novel it was kind of short, and I was just like, well, I mean, she still did it, but it doesn't seem as much. It just seems like they kind of shortened that. And yeah, that's about it for that. As far as the characters go, you can't really mess up when talking about Michael. Um, but I think that they completely. This is a tongue twister. They slandered Solander because she seemed in the books. She seemed like I don't give a damn. I'm not gonna take any shit from anybody. Like I'm gonna do my own thing. Just piss off. Leave me alone. And she did have that in this, but in the graphic novel, she seemed way more emotional. Like her emotions kind of drove her to do what she did, and that's not bad. In the book, it's the same thing, but in the books it said she would like never cry. There was only like one instance where she almost did, but then just didn't. She went back into her hardened shell. In this one, she does cry a couple times, I think. And she seems like her mindset is just a bit it's way off from what the books portrayed her as, and I kind of thought that was a letdown. I'm going to move on now to what this did right. I think that the crime and detective work that they did that was perfect. That was perfectly fine. And it followed a lot closer to the books, and that honestly shouldn't be surprised because Mina, who wrote this, she's also a Scottish crime writer, so she should know a bit about that. And I think that's great. But it fell short. The crime and detective work was awesome, but it fell short on a lot of themes and messages that were in the book that I think only Larsson really understood and could portray across really good. So to sum it up, I appreciate what it is. I really do. I have all three of them. So, I mean, kind of hypocritical for saying this, but I honestly do like what this tried to do, but it just seems like they let down a lot of the themes and messages that were like strongly put across from the books. It's pretty good. The art just ranges from great to now what's this over here. But I think so far I like the girl who played with fire the best, and I might do a video on that, but I'm not sure yet. I think I'm just going to stick with this one because it paves the way for the rest of them, really. But the girl who played with fire kind of does clear up a bit of the mistakes I found in this one, which were just a couple. Overall, I think my final verdict is going to be a 3 out of 5. Some parts were good enough to keep it like a worthy part of the Millennium Trilogy, a great adaptation. It's not really a great adaptation, but it's not like the worst possible thing you could have. It's kind of just falls somewhere in between. It's kind of meh. I would only get it if you're like a big fan of the Millennium Trilogy. Like if you're probably not going to be that interested in it, then don't get it. And that's about it. It did add just a tiny bit to what the novels I thought kind of just went over, but that was okay. But yeah, overall, I approve of the cover, but the rest is really debatable. So, yep, guys, I'm sorry this one was a bit shorter, but I'm trying to do a lot before I go on this trip next week. I'm going to be gone like all next week. There's going to be nothing. So I'm trying to get as much out as possible. So make sure and like, comment, and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.